My name is Tim Schilds, and I am the District 5370 Rotary Foundation Chair, and will be for another 18 months. Donna, when?
Yes.
At least that's the plan, unless Donna gets sick of me before that happens.
No, that's not going to happen.
and we're here to talk tonight about the Rotary Foundation, which is the heart of Rotary. So I'll get started by sharing my screen. A couple housekeeping items. If you have a question as we go along, you're all muted right now, but feel free to put it in the chat. I won't be able to see the chat while I'm presenting, because that's the nice thing about PowerPoint, is it cancels all of that out. But I will be happy to answer all of your questions before we're finished tonight. The plan is to be done within about 45 minutes out of the hour and leave lots of time for questions. However, you are working with a past district governor, and past district governor's motto is "Have Mike, will speak." So I'm going to try and keep it focused, but I apologize if I ad lib a little bit as we go along. And at the end, if anybody wants to stay on and ask more questions, I'm happy to stay on as long as you've got questions. I don't have anywhere to go tonight, such is my life. So we'll just deal with anything that comes up, and anything is fair game. So tonight is about the annual fund, and the endowment fund is what we're going to stick to. I had looked at doing all things foundation, but quickly found out that there's no way we could do it in the time allotted. So we've deferred to do a polio presentation on January the 7th. So our Rotary Foundation, and the motto for our foundation is "Doing Good in the World," which comes from Arch Clump. And as a member of Rotary, I've always been very proud to be part of the organization and all the service work that we do. And it's always just really impressed me as well that we are so lucky to have something like the Rotary Foundation to help us with all of our service work, both locally and internationally. So we'll start with a short video that I really like. Okay, I hope you guys all had sound with that because it seems like my headset has decided it really doesn't want to have any sound. Whoops. So the mission of the Rotary Foundation is to enable Rotarians to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace through the improvement of health, support of education, and the alleviation of poverty. Now, the foundation is one of our primary sources of funding for Rotary's humanitarian activities, both locally and all around the world. It's a simple mission, and it's there to support our clubs in doing their work both locally and internationally. One of the very incredible things for me about our foundation is its outstanding performance. So Charity Navigator, which is an organization in the United States that rates charities around the world, has given the Rotary Foundation 4 stars for 12 years in a row now. And that's not 4 out of 5, that's 4 out of 4. So we have ranked at the top 1% of charities for the last 12 years. And we were actually rated #1 of all the top charities that everybody has heard of by CNBC. One of the big reasons for that is that 92% of our funds are spent on program awards and operations. So the money that you put into the foundation goes to where it's needed. So we have 6 areas of focus for the foundation: peace building and conflict resolution, or conflict prevention, I should say, disease prevention and treatment, water sanitation and hygiene, maternal and child health, basic education and literacy, and community economic development. Now, out of these 6 areas, last year, the #1 area of where most of the money went, or at least half the money went, was disease prevention and treatment. And that's not just because of polio, that's just where the focus happens to be from a lot of clubs. Distant second was water, sanitation, and hygiene, and then the rest kind of fall in behind. There will be a 7th area of focus coming online on July 1st, 2021, and that is the environment. The environment was passed as an area of focus in June of 2020, but it takes about a year to get all the programs in place and online. So if that is an area that your club is passionate about, you can certainly use foundation funds for that going forward. Right now, I want you to meet Gabriela Martinez Flores. And Gabriela is a seamstress from Honduras, and she needed to expand her sewing business so that she could take care of her family. Luckily for her, Rotarians in Honduras and California got together and started a microloan program, and she was able to borrow money through a microloan to expand her sewing business and improve her economic situation so that she can better take care of her family and make sure that her children get the education that they need. So I want to talk a little bit about global grants, and this was one that's near and dear to my heart. It's a project that Sally and I were part of in Belize, in Corazon Creek, which is the very south of Belize. A very poor village that had no sanitation services at all. They had no latrines. Each family had their own tree. It was the latrine. And with how the animals wandered around and threw everything, and then like chickens would end up on your breakfast table, it just wasn't a very good sanitary situation. So we were part of building, and through our club, we were part of building these composting latrines that the brick on the bottom has 2 holes in it, or 2 bins. You use one side until it's full, and then you cap it and start using the other side. By the time you fill the second side, the first one has fully composted material that you can use to plant fruit trees and use as fertilizer. The picture in the middle shows the little spigot that comes off the back. That's just to get rid of the excess water. They compost much better once you have the water off of them. In some situations, you can actually siphon off the urine into a bucket and use it for fertilizer as well. And then on the very right, that's a wastewater garden. You can see kind of in the background, there's a building there. That's the school toilets, which flush into a tank. That tank holds all of the solids, and then the liquids run through this wastewater garden. And with all the plants, they actually take all of the nutrients and basically everything out of the wastewater so that by the time it gets to the end, it is potable water. I was assured that I could drink it. I didn't try it, to be honest. I just couldn't get there, but I am told it is drinkable. This is another one in Belize. This was undertaken by the Rotary Club of Edmonton. And I mean, you want to talk about large impact. They had a literacy project in Belize City. And through their project, they affected the lives of 4,200 students at 16 different schools, providing them books, computer access, and just making a huge difference to their whole curriculum and what they were able to accomplish. It also included some training for teachers. And then this one, you can't really see what we're dealing with, but that little blue building is a hospital in Bastumanti, Jamaica, and the Rotary Club of Camrose undertook a project there to supply incubators for babies. So they bought, actually it was initially supposed to be 15 incubators and 15 infusion pumps, as well as 10 monitors with a total cost of about 150,000. They did manage to find some efficiencies, and I know that they have purchased more incubators, but I can't remember right now exactly how many they've accomplished. So they got to the 150,000 in part due to the Rotary Foundation, but also because they took on partnerships and managed to find money in a few different places that was matched by the foundation. So global grants have a large scale impact, as I mentioned. They're generally large and long-term in the effect that probably it's going to take you about 2 years just to get all the planning done, and then another year to accomplish the task. Have to have measurable and sustainable outcomes, and sustainability is the big key here. When we did the study for Future Vision in the early 2000s, we figured out that a lot of the projects we were doing were not sustainable, so we were building water wells and things like that around the world that within 6 months weren't being used anymore, and it just wasn't a good use of our money. Part of it was also because we didn't talk to the locals and make sure that we were doing exactly what they wanted. So that's the reason that a community assessment is required. Since July 1st, 2018, it's an absolute necessity to do a community assessment. Number one, to make sure you're giving the community what it wants, and number two, to help that community buy in. All global grants must be aligned with at least one of the 6 areas of focus. I've actually found that they're generally aligned with more than one, and you have to have an international partner. Now, that does not mean you cannot do a global grant in Canada. It just means that you have to have a partner overseas that will provide part of the funding for your project. At least 30% of the project funding has to come from an international partner or partners. So I'll talk a little bit about district grants. And I know there are several clubs on this webinar tonight that are involved in Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. And the Imagination Library has been near and dear to my heart for a long time. And basically what happens with this library is all children under the age of 5 receive a book every month in their name from birth to age 5. So it's possible if you're in really early, you'll get 60 books. And the little girl on the right is one of the big reasons that I'm sold on the Imagination Library. This young lady is from Aklavik, which is in Northwest Territories, and that's the Rotary E-Club of Canada 1 is the one that put all of that together. And Sally and I have been involved with the Aklavik for 6 years now. And she's holding The Little Engine That Could. That's Dolly Parton's favorite book, and so that's the first book every child gets. And you can tell how thrilled she is that she's got her own book. Be Brave Ranch is a ranch that's for to help children that have been victims of sex abuse. And the Rotary Club of Edmonton Strathcona is involved with helping them with playmats this year through a district grant, just to make life a little bit better for these children that have gone through so much trauma. And this is a project of the Rotary Club of Drayton Valley, and it's a school in Ghana that they support 10 children to attend every year. They've done that the last couple of years as their district grant application, and they're making a huge difference in these children's lives. It's through education that we can really turn around poverty and help them to improve their lives. You can also use a district grant for a scholarship. This is generally a scholarship for a high school student going on to university. I'll get to the amounts within our district. And you can use scholarship money if you're not going to sponsor a high school student that's graduating. You can also use it for the Rotary Youth Program of Enrichment, Riley, which is the Rotary Youth Leadership Experience, or RILA, which is the Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. So RIPEN is basically a team building camp that's designed to help students become a better part of a functioning team. Riley is the leadership experience is to give leadership skills to students that have not had a lot of leadership time. And then RILA is more for a little bit more experienced students, just to give them extra skills so that they can improve in their leadership. So district grants are always small scale, short term, can be either local or international, as you've seen. When I say small scale or short term, most budgets for a district grant is in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, and they are usually completed within a year. They have to be aligned with the foundation mission, not necessarily strictly within the 6 areas of focus. They're awarded annually. What happens with a district grant is clubs apply to the district, and then the district bundles all of those up and sends it off to the Rotary Foundation as one application. So this year we are funding 71 projects and scholarships through our district, and we're expecting a total of about $122,000 Canadian is what we'll be giving out to the clubs. And I'll tell you right now that we're in a little bit of limbo. Our 2021 grant has been approved, but we have a small glitch with one of our grants from 1920 in that with COVID, the money got redirected and it went to a country that is basically under supervision from the United States right now. And so we had to provide all the paperwork to our legal department to try and get them involved in the whole thing. So hopefully we'll have resolution of that soon. District grants, as with everything foundation, must adhere to stewardship guidelines, and the district's matching is a 1-to-1. So whatever your club puts in, the district will match through our district designated funds. And for 2021, that's a maximum of $2,900 for a project or $550 for a scholarship. Just to give you an idea of our footprint, wherever you see a Canadian flag, our district has had a project, either a district grant project or a global grant project, which is pretty impressive when you look at how many flags there are all over the world. We truly are doing good in the world and making a difference. So the funding for our global and district grants mainly comes from annual fund share. And so what happens with the annual fund share is whatever is contributed in a year is held for 3 years and invested during that time. 3 years later, it comes back out, and 50% goes to district designated funds, which are funds that the district can direct what's going to happen with them. These funds are used for district grants as well as for global grants. And then the other 50% goes to the World Fund, and that supports the worldwide foundation activities as well as providing matching funds for global grants, and are used where the trustees see the greatest need. One of the big uses for those world funds this last year, of course, has been COVID. So I'm going to give you an example of how this works, because I don't know about you, but for me, it's easier if I see some numbers. So with the share system, if you were to make a $1,000 contribution in the current year, that money would be invested for 3 years. So this is 2021, and that would come out in 23-24. $500 of it would go to district designated funds, and the other 500 would go to the World Fund. Out of the 500 that comes to district designated funds, up to half, or $250, can be used for district grants. That is the maximum that we can use for district grants. The remainder of it is used for a one-to-one match of, that's going the other way. The rest of it is used for global grants. And with the World Fund, there is a one-to-one match from the World Fund to whatever district designated funds we allocate to a grant. So if we took the whole $250 and allocated it to a global grant, the World Fund would match that $250. Until June 30th of this year, the World Fund would also match 50% of whatever the club contributions were to a global grant. But mainly because of COVID, but also because of the number of grant applications that have been received, the World Fund is now only able to match one-to-one for district designated funds. It does not match any club contributions anymore. The World Fund actually ran out of money about mid-May this year, largely related to COVID. Even now, the number of grant applications are more than double what they were last year at the same time. So our district designated funds and the World Fund can also support Polio Plus or Rotary Peace Centers. So if our district allocates some of our district designated funds, say to a Rotary Peace Center, the World Fund will also match that. With Polio Plus, if we were to put in $250, which is what's left out in this scenario, the World Fund would match that $250, and then the Bill and Melinda Gates Fund Foundation would put in $1,000 to match it, because they do 2-to-1. So the annual fund is our primary funding source for all of the foundation grants, local and international grants through the share system, as I've gone over. And any contributions that you make as an individual are attributed to your club and applied to the club's annual fund goal. So both the club and the individual can make those contributions, and credit goes the same way. So one of our big things that we want to emphasize this year and next is every Rotarian every year. So every Rotarian every year is a program that was started, I don't know, everything for me is about 5 or 10 years ago now. So it was probably started 15 years ago. But what the concept is we would like to see every Rotarian donate a minimum of $25 US to the annual fund of the Rotary Foundation. Now, the figures that you see on the screen are from 2018-19. We don't have the 2019-20 figures yet, But at that time, 31% of Rotarians supported the annual fund. So just imagine where we could get to if we could get 62% of Rotarians supporting the annual fund. And with respect to every Rotarian every year in our district for 2019-20, about 39% of our members qualified as every Rotarian every year. So doing the calculation, if we were able to get that to 75% of our Rotarians contributing, we would have an extra $20,000 US available for our foundation work and for our local and international projects. So as a club, what we would really like you to aim for, I'm only going to talk about the two banners on the left. So the far left is a 100% foundation giving club. And what that banner is given to any club that has on average $100 per capita for their club, and every Rotarian in your club makes a donation of at least $25 US to the foundation. That donation can be to annual fund or polio plus or whatever, just as long as they make a contribution to the foundation. And then the next one over is an every Rotarian every year club, which is once again $100 per capita, but every member of your club gives at least $25 US to the annual fund. And so we gave out 5 of the banners on the left, 100% Foundation Giving Club for last year, and we only gave out 2 every Rotarian every year club banners in 2019-20. So it'd be fantastic if we could double that for next year. There's your challenge. The Paul Harris Fellow is awarded to anybody that contributes $1,000 or gains 1,000 recognition points, and you get 1 recognition point for every US dollar you contribute to the foundation. Once you hit the $1,000 mark, you receive a pin with Paul Harris's image on it, and you can gain more and more stones in your pin as you increase your total giving. It's always nice to have the recognition, but for me, it's always been about what the money does and the difference it can make in the world. So, you know, anything we can do to promote and get that moving is fantastic. And the Paul Harris Society, that's a group of about 23,000 leaders around the world that donate a Paul Harris Fellow equivalent or $1,000 US every year to the annual fund. Last year, that amounted to about 18% of annual fund donations worldwide. In our district, it's a little over 30% of our total annual fund giving comes from our Paul Harris Society members. We have 109 of them in our district. So some club responsibilities. As the president, you're the one that gets to oversee the goal setting and monitoring in Rotary Club Central. We like to have every club put in a foundation goal for both the annual fund and for Polio Plus. You need to appoint a foundation chair, of course. Provide opportunities for discussion with club members about contributions to the foundation. We would ask that you bring up the foundation on a regular basis, but especially in the month of November, if you can do 1 or 2 programs on the foundation, that would be fantastic. You know, the foundation is one of these parts of Rotary that can be fairly huge. And I know that people can be in Rotary for a long time and not fully understand exactly what the foundation does. So it's important that we keep reminding everyone about how much of a difference that can make. And we have a whole team here to help you. You don't have to do that on your own. Feel free to call me or any member of my committee, and we'd be happy to help you out. I know Mary Drader is on the call tonight, and she's part of the committee that I'm sure would be very willing to help you. and ensure the club is certified and eligible to access foundation funds for projects. So there is a certification process every spring, and the requirements are that at least one club member must attend grant certification webinar. We generally hold 5 of them in late March and early April each year. So look for it. We'll send out a notice. We'll try and make sure that you got at least a month, and you don't have to go to all 5. As a matter of fact, I would suggest you don't go to all 5, because all 5 will be exactly the same. I do attend all 5, but that's mainly because I'm talking. Pick whichever one works for you, and we try and get different nights and different times to make sure everybody has one they can make. File a memorandum of understanding by June 30th. Very important that we're all on the same page as far as what your obligations are, and that's what the MOU does. Your foundation goals must be entered by June 30th of 2021, and I can tell you that as of this afternoon, we have 10 clubs that have still not entered their foundation goals. They're not participating in the grant program, but if you want to be part of the grant program, please make sure you enter your goals. And as foundation chair, I'd love it if you enter your foundation goals, even if you're not going to be part of the grant program. And then ensure outstanding requirements are met for any previous grant funding, which is, for the most part, this is the reporting. Make sure you give us a report for what you did before. Club Foundation Chair, I know there are some of you online tonight. So your big goal for the next year is to help educate the club about the foundation, make sure they know why they should be investing in our foundation, help set goals. Either the foundation chair or the president can enter the goals in Rotary Club Central. Promote and assist with giving. Make sure you're talking to people within your club about how they can contribute and what their options are. Quite often, people don't because they're not sure how. And then help engage the clubs in programs, both the district grants and global grants. Nothing brings somebody into Rotary quite like being involved in a project like this. You get them involved in one project and they're there forever. And then as far as recognition, we'd really appreciate it if you recognize your members as they attain their Paul Harris Fellow, or if they're part of the Paul Harris Society, or if they become major donors. And we are notified whenever this happens, especially with the major donors. And Jim has done an excellent job of reaching out and thanking the major donors this year. But as a committee, that's one of our big focuses, is making sure we say thank you. So what I'm going to do right now is I sent you all an email earlier, and I'm going to put you into breakout rooms. So I'll put about five of you in each breakout room. And what I'd like you to do is, number one, appoint one person as a scribe, and just go through these questions and address, either what you do in your club or what you would like to do in your club, and share that with everybody. And then if the scribe can send those to me, I will make sure I compile them and send them out to everybody in attendance so that we can share how we're promoting the foundation and what works in our various clubs. And this is where I've gotten some of my best ideas. I was at a foundation session a few years ago at Spring Learning, and one of the big things that happened was St. Albert stood up and talked about the canoe that they've got. And as someone gave to the foundation, they were added to the canoe and they paddled up the river to their goal. So it's some pretty cool stuff. So I'll stop sharing and get you into breakout rooms. And this is going to be totally random. We'll do it to 8 rooms. So have fun. I'll see you in about 10 minutes. And everybody's coming back. Okay, I hope that went well for all of you. Managed.
Hey, Sean.
few pointers that you can use going forward. I see a couple comments about the video, and Donna is absolutely correct. The issue we've had before is that some people don't have as much bandwidth as others. So if we turn off the videos when I do like my videos or any of my PowerPoint presentation, makes it easier for everybody. And we shouldn't have to do that. Catherine Peterson, you were going strong, you needed more time. Well, we can always send you back to that room again at the end. I've found within my own club that we never have enough time in the breakout rooms. I do want to spend a little bit of time on the endowment fund, and then I'll just open it up to general questions. So I've got a couple of videos and a little bit about the endowment fund.
You're a Leewood. You know what that means?
We work hard and we give back.
You know, someday this apple tree will be bigger than I am. We're leaving the future behind.
Are you guys hearing sound when that
Yes.
video is on?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, you do.
My end, that is the problem. Okay, good. I'll keep going then.
Okay.
Try again.
You'll see.
Giving to Rotary's endowment ensures life-changing programs will benefit generations to come. Your legacy is Rotary's promise.
So a little quote from Arch Klumpf: Rotaries tomorrow depends on what we do today. And that's one of the big things with the endowment, is it's looking at how can we put something away so that the programs of the Rotary Foundation will continue in perpetuity. And that's the big thing about the endowment. It ensures that Rotary will retain its strength and our programs can continue long after we're gone. So a $25,000 gift to the endowment will yield about $1,000 a year in spendable earnings for Rotary programs. So if you can have a $25,000 in your will, that means that your estate will give 1,000 or a Paul Harris Fellow every year for fellow Rotarians to use to do good in the world. And that's a pretty incredible gift. And I want to emphasize that you don't all have to do 25,000, but I mean, anything that can be done certainly makes a big difference. So what we need to do is look at, okay, how will our legacy change the world? What can we do to make sure that the world will continue to improve and we have good things happening? It's really easy to give to the foundation. And in our district, Rotary Direct is higher than almost any other district in Canada or in our zone even. We have 249 people on Rotary Direct. You can make that a monthly, a quarterly, an annual donation, however you want to do that. It's really easy to go online to rotary.org and make a donation, or maybe some of your clubs do it through the club and let the treasurer deal with it. This is a little blurb I just got yesterday, Give the Gift of Rotary. And one of the big things I want to emphasize here is every size of gift has an impact. You know, $15 will provide polio vaccines to about 20 children. And that can make a huge difference in their lives, making sure that they live their life to the fullest. So the biggest thing, of course, is to take action. And as Rotarians, we are people of action. So we're counting on you to get out and work with your club. And remember that our district is always here to help you with that. This is not a journey you have to take on your own. I'm available all the time, and especially with COVID, I'm not traveling anywhere, so always around to help with that. In the month of November, I think I did about 11 or 12 different presentations about the foundation. Always happy to visit, especially via Zoom. It's really easy to do, and I can tailor a foundation presentation for your club. And apparently my last slide didn't work, so we'll just get out of there. So questions. Celestino, you made a comment about distilling the information into something easier. I can tell you that I went into a lot more detail with you guys than I normally do at the club level, mainly because I'm trying to make sure that you understand a little bit more. I fully understand where you're coming from. I've been working on foundation for at least 30 years now, and it seems like every month I get to learn something new. Yes, I can post the slide deck on the website. Neil? Or I'll actually, the whole recording will be provided as well, won't it? Yeah, so, you know, as far as presentations or help with your club, I'm happy to visit anytime, and I do try and customize the presentation based on your club and its experience. I try and make sure that your club projects are included. Jason, all you have to do is send me an email and I'll schedule a time to visit your club. Let me know when and what time you meet and what day, and we'll figure something out. So I'm wide open to questions. Did we want to unmute so everybody can just ask them?
Tim, can I second?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Brian?
I just wanted to share with the group, our club in Mornville invited Tim to speak virtually in November, and he covered a lot of things that I had missed in talking to new members. And I just want to take that home to everyone that's in this meeting tonight, that the power of having somebody that has the knowledge to present to your club is outstanding. After that presentation, I felt that our club members had a better understanding of foundation, were more comfortable about giving, and it was a very positive experience. So I just want to put that out there for anyone that's thinking about inviting Tim or any other member to come and speak. It's well worth it. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Brian.
Tim, could I just have?
Yep, go ahead, George.
Yeah, just more the logistics of it. How do you if we have a Zoom meeting? Can you join our Zoom, or for your presentation, would you send us the Zoom link?
Most of the time, and what I find works the best is if you send me your Zoom link.
Okay.
And then the only thing is that your club has to make sure that they allow me to share the PowerPoint.
Yep. And your presentation, like we meet for about an hour, and we usually do a few things for about a half an hour. So what would 20 minutes, half hour be fine?
Yep. I've done them anywhere from 15 to 30.
Okay.
Depending on what the club wants. And of course, the shorter it is, the less I include.
Yep.
I would also have to concur with Brian that Tim actually presented at our club for the Rotary Club of Edmonton Northeast, and he gave a great presentation, and he actually customized it to our club. Thank you, Tim.
Thanks, Kelly.
Tim, Mary Drader here. Can you
Hi, Mary.
for people, you were talking about the district grants for projects, $2,900 for scholarships, a maximum of $550. Now, can clubs apply for both of those in 1 year, or do they have to do one or the other? I want to get that clarified.
Yeah, no, you can apply for up to one project or one scholarship. You can do both, but you can't have two scholarships and no projects. You can have one of each.
Okay, great. Thank you, Tim.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Tim, there's a question from Wayne in the chat, wanting to know if the grants have been distributed to clubs this year, for this year.
Yeah, no, they haven't, Wayne, and that's due to a glitch with the 2019-20 year. We had one club sent money to a country that apparently we're not supposed to send money to. So it's with the legal department at the Rotary Foundation right now. It's at least 2 months ago, we sent them all the paperwork. And I've been trying at least once a week to get hold of them to find out what's going on, but I'm not getting many answers at the moment.
So I guess that just emphasizes the importance of the memorandum of understanding. So clubs really understand their responsibilities using foundation money. And when you go offside, this is what happens. Much stop all 60 other clubs from receiving money.
Yeah, and it was really one of those COVID things that they couldn't use the money for Riley and Ripon. So they did a really great project. It just happened to be in the wrong country.
So was that because it was foundation money or just club money?
It was foundation money.
Okay. Well, then the simple solution is have whatever that club is, write a check back to the district to put back into the pot and give back to foundation would be my solution, and doesn't hold the rest of us up.
And I'm trying to work with the foundation on it, but I'm not getting many answers. So we'll do it as soon as we can. Celestino, you had a question?
More of a comment. I was going to say that in our club, we have been, I know I have, Yannick has, and so forth, been encouraging donations to the foundation. And the way we normally used to do it is we'd give a little presentation and we'd say, like kindly contribute. This year we did it differently. What we did our usual presentation, and then we gave the club members the option to just pool the money, and the treasurer will do the whole donation screen, login, entry, and all that stuff for you. And we had a much better response because people were happy to just say, hey, okay, here's my $100. You do all the whatever needs to be done on Rotary.org. So something to think about in terms of actually getting the donation rolling into the foundation.
Yeah, Brian had the same situation in Morinville, that he had a couple members didn't want to go on. So yeah, that's a great solution, Celestino. And your president, your treasurer, your foundation chair, your secretary, and your membership chair all have access to a donate on behalf of the club, and it lists every club member. All you have to do is put the amount in and put it on your credit card, and automatically they get emailed a receipt. One of the tools that I did not mention tonight that is coming out is something called Raise Rotary. And I did a fundraiser in October for that. and it works great. The only downside right now, I would suggest we wait until July and we can donate in Canadian funds. I found that I lost about $75 in the translation because my credit card charged more for US dollars than what the foundation gave me in receipt. But it was really easy to use. You can use it as a birthday celebration, or you can get your whole club or a group of clubs together, and the credit goes back to your club and you get a receipt in Canadian dollars, no matter what.
So Tim, I had a question in regards to where club leadership, did you cover off where they can find their club status as to their foundation giving monthly or throughout the year, both for annual program fund and polio?
I did not, but you can find it in Rotary Club Central under reports. You can get a report every month, and both the foundation chair and the president have access to that. And it will have a monthly contribution report is your annual fund, and then the Polio Plus, whatever you've given shows up under Polio Plus. If you go into Rotary Club Central and click on your club, it gives you a general overview of where you're at year to date as well. And if you have trouble with that, I can step you through, and if you want to make a phone call.
And with a comparative to prior years as well, so yeah.
Yeah. But the prior year is not a year to date, it's for the full year.
That's correct. Yeah.
The good news on the annual fund for so far this year is that despite all the COVID issues, we're within $1,000 of where we were year to date last year. So that's pretty good.
Tim, I just wanted to mention that while in my group, we had a few people that were relatively new to being foundation chair. And so while they're waiting to get you and your team to come out and talk to them, there's a foundation minute that's in the connections. So that's another easy place for people if you want to just have rather than a big presentation, but just to keep it in front of people. There's a little bit of information there that you could share briefly at your club meetings. That's easy to give to people.
And if you want more help with your own foundation committee at the club level, I'm happy to schedule a meeting with just your foundation committee and have a chat, or the president and the foundation committee, however we can help. Catherine?
Tim, I was fortunate to have Wayne in my breakout room, and we talked just briefly before we got shuffled back into the big group about every Rotarian every year. And so I wanted a bit more clarification on that, in that you had mentioned it's $25 US per member. I understand that's per member per year, not per month, correct?
Yeah.
And is that amount, like, so for example, if we have 30 members in our club and somebody donates more than that on a monthly basis, like I'm part of I just give monthly on my credit card. So if we have somebody who maybe doesn't contribute, but I do enough for two, is it cumulative that way? Or does it have to be absolutely every registered member has to give their 25 per year?
Yeah, every single member has to give their 25 per year.
Okay.
And the overall average has to be at least $100 for the club. So your giving really helps to get to the $100 average per capita. And then if they do the 25, that covers off that every Rotarian in your club has given something.
Okay. Okay.
Hi, Tim. This is Linda from St. City.
Yes.
I'm just saying, our club, what we do is include the $25 US in our annual dues, and then we have it already given to the Rotary Foundation for every Rotarian every year. So that works really well.
Yes, it did. Saint City was one of 2 clubs that got the Every Rotarian Every Year banner last year.
See, Tim, so we do that in our club too, but there must have then been some who didn't. I don't know how that works out because we add that onto our dues for everybody too. I'm a Spruce Grove Rotary Club, and Neil Holland's on the call is actually our foundation chair in the club.
So Catherine, I can answer that because our new members didn't donate. We didn't manage to get a donation from our new members.
Well, I'm incoming president, so that's going to change.
I like it.
I want that banner.
It only takes one member not to give. And when you do like a mandatory contribution, like some members get their backup. So just be sensitive to that, even though it's like $2 a month. That give me a break.
I know, but I'm persuasive and not above bribes, so that's good.
Well, I've been known to be that way as well. So
I'll bring baking. Yay.
Yeah, Donna, I assume that's Donna Fardo, made a comment about there's lots of videos available. Yeah, you can go into My Rotary, or Vimeo actually has a ton of videos that are really easy to download and share. The ones that I had tonight came from Vimeo, and I'm happy to share links if you're looking for a video that you can show your club. I think Elizabeth has a comment there about with Gateway Rotary, everybody contributes $100 Canadian, and then the club kicks in the US exchange so that they all hit 100 US, that's fantastic. Really good idea.
no thanks.
Okay, I'm not seeing any more questions at the moment. So the recording and the slide deck, we will make sure that we get uploaded, or if you prefer, I also have a different slide deck that's not quite so detailed that you can use if you were looking to make a presentation to your club, or I can do the presentation to your club, whatever you prefer.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much for attending. I'm looking forward to working with you and Donna and Jim over the next 18 months.
Yeah, to achieve great things.
But who's
We will
counting,
achieve
right,
greatness.
Tim?
Pardon?
But who's counting?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, not
Tim,
me.
Yeah, Tim, thanks very much for putting this together.
Appreciate it.
And,
pleasure.
It'll be on the, it takes a few days for us to get it up on the website, but it'll be there on the Learning and Development page, so people can access it there.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Tim. Good presentation. Well done.
Perfect. Thanks.